I go live. I forgot to press the button. I don't know if you were hearing me. I was talking. All right. See, that's how much I have going on. All right. Hi, everybody. If you are on any other platform, well, we meet here every Friday evening from 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time to right here at the Tarabuster YouTube channel, youtube.com/channel/Tarabuster. And the show is also simulcast on the Political Voices Substack. And the show is rebroadcast on Sundays on the Progressive Voices app. Okay. And what else do I have to say? Oh, yeah. Check out the Tara Show. Myself and Tara Dublin. We do a show every Tuesday and Thursday on the Political Voices Substack and on the Political Voices YouTube channel. And we had a great guest on Thursday. Senator Ron Wyden was the guest. It's pretty good. Pretty incredible. I think he dropped a few bombshells. If you hadn't had a chance, if you hadn't gotten, oh, you know, this is how it is. It's the liberal media. If you haven't had a chance to see it, there are clips available, and also the whole interview is available on the Political Voices YouTube channel and all over. I've been posting clips and whatnot. And I want to thank Charlie from APS Radio News for all he does to keep the show going and growing, and for all the help for the community cats that I help take care of in my spare time, doing some TNR. Sometimes we've had kittens here, socializing them, right? Boudica was one of them once. I had to keep her though. She was just too cute to give up. All right, where do we begin? What else? I feel like I'm missing things. Oh, and thank you, patrons, patreon.com/Tara Devlin. I don't want to turn the whole show into, plugging and whatnot. So bear with me. It is a necessary evil. If you can, become a patron at patreon.com/Tara Devlin. Keep the show going and growing. Like and subscribe, all of that stuff, because that's what's going to help this show and others like it. And, well, this show, let's just keep the focus on me right now. This show, get the goddamn, break through the noise. We have a lot of work to do. I think that's why I'm so exhausted. Because there's no days off in fascism. And make no mistake, we're here. And that's why, I'm so pissed off. Sometimes I get very despondent. Sometimes not despondent enough to give up. But I think, God damn it, if people had listened to me back years ago, of course they don't though, listen to me when I'm screaming about fascism, saying that in every Republican chest beats the heart of fascism, that this policy and that what they're dragging us to is fascism. It doesn't start with death camps. And here, but we're not at the death camps yet, but we have the camps. We have the military in our streets. We have a filthy fascist, disgusting traitor who has turned the military against the people. We have red states, these filthy, poorly run red states, who are literally waging war against the economic engine of the country, against the states that are functioning. That's what pisses me off, because and this is the problem with Democrats the whole time. I've been screaming at Democrats, saying you gotta be more forceful. You got to call them out. Please, can we finally get over this notion, Democrats, that there are some kind of disaffected Republicans that are going to vote for you. They're not. Don't, and the other thing is, people don't vote for politicians they think might be reasonable. Oh, that's a reasonable guy. They work bipartisan. Nobody gives a shit about bipartisanship. This is the other thing that pisses me off about Democrats, and they never stop about this bipartisan bullshit. Oh, this is a bipartisan bill. They give so much credit to the Republicans. It was really much to my eternal banging my head against the wall when I would listen to Joe Biden say, oh, bipartisan this, bipartisan that. Just even to the point where he had to name that infrastructure bill the bipartisan infrastructure bill. Fuck that. Excuse my language. F that. Really. What, as if, because, to me it looked like, and it is, it seems like the Democrats have a more, they're more dedicated to rehabbing the Republican brand than the Republicans themselves. So they're so interested in like stroking these effing Republican, I'm losing my voice already, stroking these Republican monsters' egos as if suddenly they'll want to adult with us. They'll suddenly want to join us in this friggin' grand experiment in liberal democracy, the wonders of self-governance. They're not going to. Have they shown us anything that indicates that they're interested in a fair and square fight on the field of ideas? Right? Just saying that makes me want to laugh. I swear, I laugh like I'm in a goddamn loony bin, though. That's the problem. Where you're banging your head against the wall. They don't care. They're not interested in meeting opponents or meeting someone who might hold a different point of view fairly and squarely on the field of ideas. Please. What fucking fantasy land do these Dems live in? Hold on, my chair is a little bit crooked. Whatever. What a world. Dems. Would they ever listen to me? For years I've been saying that. And here's what was I saying? Okay, the people don't give a shit about bipartisanship. Nobody votes for somebody because, this is a bipartisan person right here. They're going to work across the aisle with my opponents, or the people that are trying to cut my goddamn throat. They're working across the aisle with the Republicans who have been trying to roll back progress since the day I've been born. And before that, before I was born, yeah, they're going to work across the aisle. They're going to ask for the same shitty ideas that crashed the economy twice in 100 years. Oh, yeah, they're going to work across the aisle with the frickin' fascists who don't give a shit about anybody else but themselves. Nobody cares about that. What they care about is whether you will fight for them. That's what they care. I've been screaming this into my phone when I call my senator, Chuck Schumer, because they don't pick up the phone. Schumer. He doesn't pick up the phone because I'm not a billionaire. And that's how I start every conversation. Well, that's not a conversation. It's a one-way, 2-minute tirade where I call and I say, yes, I understand I only have 2 minutes because I'm not a billionaire, but here goes. Even though I do kind of introduce myself, I say, hey, I got a little podcast here, Tarabuster, on the Political Voices Network, so maybe you want to listen a little bit, because there are some people, there is an audience watching, there are people watching, and they do, we're all in this together, so we, All right, hold on. You can tell it's going to be one of those nights, right? I'm going to have to do something about this seat that's crooked, but maybe I'll play a video and get up. Look at Boudica, though. She's licking her legs. She's very cute. All right. What was I saying? Yeah. So nobody. What am I wrong? If I'm wrong, you guys, let me know in the chat. If you disagree, yes. Have any of you guys in the audience? Have you ever voted for somebody because they're fucking bipartisan? This is the problem. They give the Republicans entirely too much credit. That's the Democrats. When is it reciprocal, though? When? Show me one example of a Republican boasting about how he's been bipartisan with Democrats. Because for as far back as I can remember, since that filthy, disgusting Rush Limbaugh, the notion of Republicans negotiating or compromising, working with Democrats is like tantamount to treason for these monsters. That's why we're in this boat. That's why we have very low IQ, low effort thinkers, and there's many studies that say conservatism is a low effort thinking ideology. Okay, it's like knee-jerk reaction ideology, and that's what it is. And I mean, they've done studies, low effort, low IQ, attracted to hierarchy, and of course racism. Racism and low IQs go hand in hand. That's why it's so funny watching Traitor Trump whine and of course project that AOC and Jasmine Crockett, they're very low IQ. That's because he's got a low IQ. He's worse than a low IQ because he had every opportunity to not have a low IQ. I mean, he was born on third base thinking he hit a triple. He had every goddamn educational opportunity, but because he's such a adultard, such a dullard, he pissed those opportunities away. He paid people to go to class for him. He paid people to take tests for him, write papers for him. He never read a book in his fucking life. That's for sure. He might have had Mein Kampf on his bedside table. You think he ever read it? No. Not that I would say you should read it. I'm just saying that even though he says that's not a lot of good things. Hitler had some good ideas. We know that his one of his wives said it was Ivana, right? She's now buried and she's now a tax break on his golf course in her in her coffin. I mean, what a piece of dirt, right? But he, that's why when they ask him I just saw some clip of him. I won't make you endure it, but there was a clip of him. This was years ago on, I think it was Larry King, and they asked him, what book are you reading? Because they were talking about Bonfire of the Vanities. It was a big hit at the time. And he said, they said, what book are you reading? And he's like, of course he had, Bonfire of the Vanities. And because that's what they were talking about. And they said, well, what besides that? What's on your nightstand tonight? Oh, just too many. The ones that are that everybody's reading. Like the one at the top. The one, it's like two Corinthians go into a bar. He has he's a very good bullshitter. That's about it. And, but this is the problem. This is why the Democrats, and let me get back to what I was saying. I mean, maybe the Democrats, I hope you listen, but the American people, that's why it's like a breath of fresh air listening to Gavin Newsom and watching Gavin Newsom kind of model what it looks like to have a spine for Democrats. Yeah, it's enough. And even to me, I have to say, he's not going far enough. But it is refreshing to watch him not take any of their shit, because that's what you got to do. He's very good at it. But he also likes to talk about bipartisan and whatnot. Still, this is a bipartisan bill. Like nobody cares. The voters want you to fight. They want you to pass policies that work. Do you think that FDR, this is what gets me, it used to get me even worse. I mean, I'm just fucking delirious now with anger half the days, and the other half I'm sleeping. But when FDR took the reins for the Republican death cult, who crashed the economy and did fuck all for anybody on a breadline or any. I mean, that's what the Republicans do. He didn't pine for the same Republican ideas that crashed the economy to begin with. In fact, the opposite was true. He never missed the opportunity to remind the American people who had crashed the economy, who had left them on the breadlines. He talked about it all the time. Whenever, I mean, that's, you gotta repeat things to the American people, as we know. But saying things like, Republicans, take back your party, the American people need a strong Republican Party that's done so much good for America, like Nancy Pelosi is apt to do, does nothing to advance the interests of the American people, who are on really we're on the balls of our ass at this point. And we need fighters, because there's a lot of catching up to do. And this is why I keep reading that the Democratic Party has the registrations for the Democratic Party for the first time in since 2018 are down. So the Republicans are registering more Republican voters than the Democratic Party is registering Democratic Party voters. Isn't that a goddamn disgrace? And why, I wonder? And propaganda, that's why. Half the country is consuming right-wing propaganda that makes, like Fox News, for example, making its viewers less informed than those who watch no news at all. And then you have right-wing influencers literally funded by the Kremlin. And the Democratic Party, for whatever reason, for years and years and years, didn't feel the need to point this out. So we're playing catch-up right now. What the Democratic Party needs to do is call Fox News what it is. It's not news. It's fake news. That's fake news. And whenever the Traitor Trump talks about, fake news, well, there you go again, projecting. I don't know. All right. Well, where do we go from here? I don't want to just go down that rabbit hole, but you know what I'm saying, because I say it all the time. And thank you, Jim, for your super chat. Not only is Jim working tonight as a moderator in the chat room, he's also putting the cover charge on the on the bar here, so to speak. Thank you, Jim. And thank you, Redfoot. I see Redfoot is also a moderator. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. Oh, brother. Hold on, there's the music. I gotta fix this damn thing. That's better. That's better. All right, guys, this is Tara Devlin. Thank you for hanging out. Become a patron, patreon.com/Tara Devlin. That'll be nice. All right, where do we begin? Okay, when the history of this time is written, they will discuss how the cruelty is the point. And I'm actually writing an article now. I wasn't able to get it finished before the show. I was hoping to get it finished, but I'll probably finish it tomorrow. About how Traitor Trump is begging for a Nobel Peace Prize, what Caroline Leavitt calls Nobel Peace Prize. This is how ignorant they are, right? Nobel Peace Prize, because she's reading it. They don't know Nobel Peace Prize from Noble. But she's reading it because she's a moron. She's a 27-year-old trophy wife of some old guy who gave Trump a lot of money. That's how she got the job. and she's capable of screaming at people, and that's what it is. I cannot stand these Republicans who it's like Stephen Miller, this horrible waste of human DNA, and J.D. Vance, Caroline Leavitt. I guess they think that if they yell at people, it somehow masks that they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. It means that they're not lying. Is that what they're trying to do? Trigger everyone to regress to their childhood? I guess maybe the MAGAts, it works on the MAGAts who have a lot of problems and probably, they're fucked up because their, daddies beat them and called them F word and whatnot, right? They got a lot of issues that they need to resolve in a therapist's office, not by inflicting it on the country they can only pretend to love. But they're always screaming and yelling and scolding us about, just what we're not doing for them and how we failed them somehow. And it really goes hand in hand with the fact that they hate this country. You cannot call yourself a patriot and hate everybody in your country. Hate your country. They do hate this country. And that's what the Democrats need to remind the American people, that, this is why they have unleashed a bunch of masked goons onto our streets, why they're waging war against half the country. They're waging war against Democrats, that's for sure. But we're the ones who are carrying the mantle of the American Revolution. We're the ones who are trying to maintain the grand experiment in liberal democracy and expand the franchise to make sure that it lasts to the next generation and beyond. We're trying to make sure that freedom and liberty and e pluribus unum, all of the things that make this country great, lasts in perpetuity, right? What's the word? In perpetuity, not chewity. Even though that sounds like a good word, but what are Republicans doing? They cannot stand the truth about this country. They hate the fact that it was born in the liberal age of enlightenment. They hate the fact that it's a nation of immigrants. They hate that no person supposedly is above the law. They hate the general welfare. They only care about their own welfare, the welfare of a few at the top, right? And they're just so full of shit that I don't know. I don't know how they stand themselves. But let me see. Where is it? And everything they touch, they turn to shit. Now, but Traitor Trump is begging, as usual, bleeding and pleading and pining and whining for a Nobel Peace Prize that he doesn't deserve. As the world deals with the reality, the grinding reality of the failure of his policies. And there's an article I was just reading about how another MAGAt, because one of the things I love to do in my spare time is go on the Leopards Eating Your Face Reddit page. That's like food to me now. It sustains me. But there's businesses. I saw this article on the New York Times. Where is it? American businesses in survival mode as Trump's tariffs pile up. But it's not just businesses. They're talking about people who voted for Traitor Trump. Like this woman. After fighting the Vietnam War, Richard May returned to America and enrolled in business school. Blah, 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 blah. I don't want to read the whole thing. Hold on a second. Where is it? But the fact that this whiny bitch is pining for a Nobel Peace Prize. Well, you know why he's doing it, because Obama got one. And frankly, I don't know why Obama got a Nobel Peace Prize either. I'm not agreeing with Traitor Trump. He got a Nobel Peace Prize when he was elected. I think that the world was so tickled by his election that they gave him a Nobel Peace Prize. He had just been elected. I think he was just sworn in. And he won the Nobel Peace Prize. I guess because the world was pleased with America's seeming leap forward. But make no mistake, Traitor Trump is an angel of death. Needless suffering and death. Just what happens every time Trump and Republicans get into office. I mean, and there are so many. He keeps saying that he won seven wars, or he brought 7 wars to an end. And of course, he's full of shit. He didn't end conflicts in Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Yemen, Somalia, Libya. He ramped up bombings in Afghanistan. Remember, he even dropped the mother of all bombs. This bitch wants a Nobel Peace Prize? He loosened rules of engagement, meaning more dead civilians. He didn't withdraw troops meaningfully. He shuffled them around for headlines. And, of course, he set us up for failure. He left Joe Biden with a ticking time bomb, putting a deadline on our withdrawal from Afghanistan. Remember how the Republicans they always say, well, you don't put a deadline on things because all they have to do is wait you out and then let the death and destruction begin again. And that's what happened. And not only did he when we ended the war in Afghanistan, and Traitor Trump was the one that negotiated that. And that's why I hate Republicans. I hate the corporate media that has failed us so miserably, because they don't report on it. When Traitor Trump was whining and bitching, and the filthy fascist Republicans going on about how Joe Biden needs to be impeached over the Afghanistan withdrawal, well, impeach yourself, booby. Again. Because you're the one that set that up, that negotiated that deal. And not only that, you closed every airport but one, making it a funnel to cause that chaos. So that's what Traitor Trump does. Whenever Republicans get their grubby, greedy, useless claws around anything, they destroy. They never bring peace, unity. What do they do? Do they ever bring joy, happiness, the end of stress? They cause suffering and death. And this is even, I'm just pointing out one situation. There's so many other. How about the fact that he so botched the COVID-19 response that he left a million corpses in his wake? The highest death rate in the developed world. Life expectancy in the United States, when because of Traitor Trump's response, COVID response, fell by a full year because of him. And it's getting worse now. This is the deepest decline since World War II. It's disgraceful. Many of these deaths were avoidable, and they were a direct result of deliberate, filthy fascist Traitor Trump policy choices. Hold on a second. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not. This is Tara Devlin. Thank you for hanging out. Become a patron at patreon.com/Tara Devlin. Remember to check out the Tara Show every Tuesday and Thursday. Let me see. I'm trying to see what's going on the Substack. If we're up and running, I should have checked that earlier. Thank you for hanging out every Friday night with me, guys. Up and running. I appreciate that. And if you can, tell your friends. Share the show. Like and share with your friends. That helps keep the show going and growing. If you can't support financially, you can support like that. Right? Is that annoying to keep asking to do that? It is a necessary evil. If you're on the Substack, if you can like and subscribe and all that stuff to the YouTube and vice versa, that would be helpful. Okay. How's everybody doing? I'm just checking the chat for a second. Oh, brother. So let's see. Yes. COVID-19, the deaths in the United States. Well, I mean, that alone, that's why I cannot forgive. And I will never forget, and I will not forgive anyone who voted for this baboon. No offense to baboons. Traitor Trump. You saw what he did with the COVID-19 pandemic. We all went through that. It was a disaster. The worst death rate in the developed world, and you voted for that again. Oh, but he had a great economy. No, he didn't. No. He left office with the worst jobs rate since Herbert Hoover. Oh, well, that was because of COVID. No, it wasn't. His jobs record was dropping exponentially after the not the big ugly bill, that came this time, after the GOP tax scam. See, all he had to do was leave Obama's economy alone, not screw with it, but that's what Republicans can't help themselves. Because whenever the Democrats get into office, they start trying to promote the general welfare and do things and pass policies that help people, that don't leave people behind. And Republicans, they can't stand that. They can't abide that. So when they get into office, shamefully, by hook and by crook, even though Democrats receive more votes, but Republicans still get to be in the majority. Because we have this effed up system, and it's getting worse. Trump is trying to nullify elections. That's why he's taking election advice from Putin. He's not taking election integrity advice from Putin. He's taking advice about how to make elections a sham, like they are in Russia and authoritarian parts of the world, where you go out and you vote, you go through the pantomime of voting, but the outcome is a foregone conclusion. That's what that prick is trying to do. So that's why I will never forgive anyone who voted for that effing goddamn waste of human DNA, that traitor. A traitor. You voted for a traitor. Not only that, he left office with America a land of mass graves. You shameless suckers. What the hell? Mass graves, worst death toll, worst jobs record since Herbert effing Hoover. And you said, I can't wait for that economy to be back. Well, you got it now. When will you remember? See, a lot of the Republicans, they like racism. So, okay, at least be honest about it. I'm so sick of them. They just don't like America. They don't like the fact that we are a nation of immigrants. If what we have been witnessing for the past 7 months doesn't prove that, well, then you got your head in the sand. But, you know, he wants this Nobel Peace Prize. God forbid, or Nam Myoho Renge Kyo forbid, let's put it that way, if the Nobel Committee gives him one, just to shut his fat face up, his orange prick face up, his Putin bitch face up. Some people, I've read things online where people are like, just give him a Nobel Peace Prize. So, you know, if that's what it takes to get peace in Ukraine, just give him one. Just give him one. Like, the whole fucking world is in some kind of mass hysteria to please this fucking sociopath. Now, that's sick. That's what I'm sick of, too. That we all have to go along with this. How much longer will we have to go along with this charade? We all have to pretend that this effing con man is not out for himself? We all have to go along with it. Now, what's wrong with us? This is the problem. You know, people say, well, you support the office of the presidency, not the president. He doesn't support the office of the presidency or honor it. He defiles it. He's disgusting. They're all disgusting. But every time, let's put it this way, and this is what Democrats need to say. Every time the Republican Party is in power, the death rate goes up, and this time is no different. Suicide, overdoses, deaths by despair, treatable illnesses now. They have set us up for failure. Think about what they're doing with renewable energy, right? How they have shackled us to fossil fuels now. When the whole world, as the whole world evolves, this effing traitor, who is Putin's bitch, has done more damage as far as us just keeping a pace with renewables, like the whole world. The whole world is moving on without us. And Traitor Trump wants us to, what did they do, for example? Disconnected. They, just out of spite, because this is who they are, there were EV charging stations on federal property. They were already there. They were already installed. And Traitor Trump and his fascist minions disconnected them. Just to be assholes. Like what they're doing with everything else. Defunding scientific research. Cancer research. I mean, just every time Republicans get their disgusting, greed-centered clutches around the neck of power, they cause more death. I mean, they're not happy unless Americans are needlessly dying. That's the truth. So, death by despair. And that's why I'm so sick of listening to them go on about how much make America great again. Why don't you start by making America good? But you're incapable of it. And we talked about it last show, how, and everything, the hypocrisy is the wind beneath their wings. They're very underwhelming people. And just like in the Nazis, with the Third Reich, the 20th century Nazis they admire so much, fascism gives underwhelming people a chance at power. They can't compete otherwise. They can't keep up otherwise. That's why they hate America. They hate decent America. They hate good America. They can't stand expertise or knowing what you're talking about, right? That's what they hate that. because they just can't keep up, like Traitor Trump, who paid people to take his tests in college, who had all of the all of the opportunities, the best education money could buy, and he just cheated himself. That's why he doesn't know where to put the apostrophe or what you're to use, Y-O-U-R or Y-O-U apostrophe R-E. You think if somebody went to the best schools, has a very big a brain, would know what you're to use, right? But no. Hold on a second. This is Tara Devlin. Be right back. My name is... Oh, yeah, I already said that. My name is Tara Devlin. Thank you. Yes. All right. Am I wrong? So Trump hasn't ended war. He hasn't built peace. If anything, he's the agent of... He's a demon. The agent of death. The agent of war. The agent of put each other at each other's throats. Turning America and the American people against each other. The fact that, this is why I hate them too, the hypocrisy. For all the years we had to listen to them bleat and cry and scream and fart about how the government was coming to get them, right? How Obama was going to send troops into Texas. That whole Jade Helm, the great Jade Helm panic. Now they got troops, and these poorly run red state governors are sending their National Guard into D.C. How dare they? How fucking dare they? And you don't hear anything. You don't hear shit from Alex Jones about it. Because he would rather lie about, toddlers who are eviscerated by assault weapons. This is what we're dealing with. The incredible immorality, the indecency of the Republican Party. They're immoral. They have no decency. That's why I always say we're on the right side of decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. And we should be unapologetic about that. That's what, in all their flaws and hypocrisies, the founding fathers were progressives. So never forget that. They certainly were men of their time, yeah, but they were progressives. They overthrew a king and an aristocracy. That's what you call progressive. That's progress. They replaced an intergenerational aristocracy and monarchy with a government of, by, and for the people. That is progressive. And yes, they wrote all men are created equal, and they meant all white men. That's because they were men of their time, products of their time. But yet they still wrote those progressive promises in our founding documents that the Republicans just can't abide. The more we take them at their word, that's when they would rather turn the country back to authoritarianism. Give it to a baboon. Give it to a greed-centered, draft-dodging, tax-cheating dirtbag, Putin puppet bitch. They have no, just even when you look at them through the eyes of let's say Ronald Reagan would not be welcome in this MAGAt cult. That's for sure. He understood immigrants, how important it was for America to maintain our status of, being that shining city on a hill that welcomes immigrants. He warned MAGAts that if we ever forget that, it would be to our downfall. If we ever stopped welcoming immigrants. And yeah, that's why I can't stand these like people who voted for Trump. It's none of it is acceptable. The fact that they're so even the first time, you can almost forgive. Some people say, "Well, I can't." What do they call them? Triple Trump voters or something. I mean, the first one Trump vote is one too many. The second he came down the escalator calling Mexicans rapists should have been enough. Should have been all the proof you needed. What he was. A fascist. Using division. Using hate. That should have been enough for you. If you're a patriot, if you're a normal person, patriot. But no. Yeah, a lot of people they're not that swift. They're not that smart. Where is this? I'm trying to find this J.D. Vance. Do I have that? Because he's such a... well, yeah, that last week we were discussing how J.D. Vance, and this is why the hypocrisy of Republicans is unbearable. I don't know how they stand themselves. Really. They really should look at themselves in the mirror and use this time as an opportunity to do that searching and fearless moral inventory of yourselves. Say, why was I so outraged about Jade Helm, this fake bullshit, stupid fucking completely Republican manufactured nothing burger, but I'm not outraged about the the traitor, the Putin bitch, using the National Guard like his little toys, and turning them against free and fair, free people. Right? First they came for the blue states, you dumb bitches. And the blue states, make no mistake, I mean, let's remind the MAGAts, I know that we have some lurking, but that the blue states are keeping your poorly run red states afloat. And shame on you for all of a sudden, I'm going to lose my health care, my job, my, for finally seeing the light when it affects you directly. Where is this? I'm trying to find this. Uh-oh. Hold on. Shit. Is that lagging? Are we getting lagging again? Where is my download? Oh, here it is, JD. What a tedious bitch he is, JD Vance. Well, because last week we were talking about how, this is the other thing, the hypocrisy. And because I wrote an article on the Political Voices Substack about how JD Vance has been on vacation every week. I mean, not every week. Every month. It's 7 months since the MAGAts got control and started destroying America again, full time. And J.D. Vance, if you can believe it, he's been on vacation once a month for the past 7 months. The first time was 5 days after he took the oath of office. But hey, it's good to be Little Lord Fauntleroy. It's what I wrote about in the Political Voices Substack was that it is another example of how Republicans hate this country. They're not public servants. They do not get into government for altruism, and J.D. Vance especially, because he is Peter Thiel's bitch. Peter Thiel, a gay billionaire who, I don't know, J.D. Vance said meeting Peter Thiel was the most important moment of his life. So, most memorable moment. And he and Peter Thiel funded his whole career, just like he funds Curtis Yarvin, a fascist that gives some kind of intellectual legitimacy to what? Racism? To the weakest bitch ideas? The most basic of bitch ideas? I mean, that's what we're dealing with. Hiding behind the veneer of legitimacy by writing it like you're some kind of intellectual. And then the New York Times does a piece on Curtis Yarvin, so, that gives them legitimacy. This is what we're dealing with. That's J.D. Vance's benefactor. And, of course, he goes on vacation. How do you stand yourselves, Republicans? Because you don't hear any of this on Fox News. They don't freak out and scream. Remember how they're still posting pictures of Joe Biden laying on the beach. That one fucking photo that they have of him. And they're still bitching and moaning about Obama, how Obama went golfing. Well, Traitor Trump, and they remember how they used to do all the calculations that, Obama's golf trips have cost the taxpayers, this amount of money so far. Well, guess what? Traitor Trump's got that beat hands down. Not only does, I think, in the first maladministration, he spent more money, the taxpayers spent more money on Traitor Trump's golf court trips than we did for Obama's entire administration the first year. Did I say that correctly? You know what I'm saying? So in 1 year, Traitor Trump's golf trips cost the taxpayer more than Obama's entire presidency of 8 years. So, and they were all on to his golf courses too, and plus the other ways that the grift that Trump grifts from the office of the presidency. It's staggering. Forget the fucking emoluments clause. Forget it. How quaint to think of the notion that Ben Franklin was barred from taking a snuff box from the French, from the French king. I think he got a nice jewel encrusted snuff box. And it was a big, big bone of contention and debate. So, because there's the appearance of being a bitch to an autocrat, right? And like George Washington tried to instill in the founding fathers, the rest of the founding fathers, that we're fighting more, not just for the war, or we're fighting for an idea. So we have to be even more careful about the appearance. Just like, but those days are over. When you think about the corrupt and illegitimate fascist Supreme Court taking trips from these effing billionaire trips, RVs. I mean, the whole thing is so disgusting. That's what I mean. I don't understand how maggots stand themselves. Take this time, maggots. Look at yourself in the mirror. Take that searching and fearless moral inventory of yourselves, and try to figure out why the hypocrisy is okay. That you bitch and moan and waste everybody's time with your faux rage about vacations. When Democrats take a vacation, when Democratic politicians or presidents or vice presidents take a vacation, you fucking never shut up about it. But then when J.D. Vance is on vacation, he's not even in the goddamn office a year. He's on vacation every month, interrupting and inconveniencing everyone else. That's what pissed me off, too. because he doesn't give a shit. Oh, yeah, they closed down the park. So you save, and this is what I wrote about in the article, you scrimp and save, and because here in the United States of serfs and lords, we're so fucking stupid. We're the only country that doesn't have guaranteed health, not just health care, but guaranteed vacation and sick leave, like the rest of the world. But, you know, J.D. Vance has guaranteed vacation. He's got so many of them. He's got one a month. And everywhere he goes, he inconveniences people. So you scrimp and save, and you get that time off, and you have to put it in with your boss or whatever, and you have to say, because you get, like, no time. If you get 2 weeks, you're lucky. In other countries, in England, for example, federally protected, mandated vacation, 30 days. Right? 30 days. Not here, in this fucked up country. And Traitor Trump says that he thinks we have too many federal holidays. Too many days off. If that doesn't sound like the United States of serfs and lords, I don't know. Then you're not paying attention. Because the problem is, what is the meaning of life? That's really the ultimate question that it comes down to. What is the meaning of life? To MAGAts, I guess, they love being the hosts from which billionaires suck profit and discard without apology. But not for the rest of us. We would like to, you know, get a fair share of the profit our labor makes possible. I mean, it really does come down to it. What is the meaning of life? What is the meaning of an economy? It's all connected. It's not just to make the few at the top very rich. And our rewards come in heaven. That's why they want to whittle away the separation of church and state. Not whittle away. They want to dynamite it and blow it up and pretend it never existed to begin with. But because they want the people, the dumb people who weren't born with trust funds, to not have, to not question their lot in life. Not expect the system that the founders fought a revolution to create to ever do anything for them. Well, that's not what the system is. It's supposed to do for the people. It's supposed to promote the general welfare over the welfare of the tax-cheating, draft-dodging traitor. So keep that in mind, and don't be apologetic about it. Pull yourself out by your bootstraps. F that. No one works harder than the American people. Year after year after year, productivity goes through the roof, yet wages stagnate. And we get nothing. And that's how Republicans like it, because they want, and that's why they're destroying government agencies. They want you to spend hours. You got to call the IRS. You got to call the VA. You got to call Social Security. They want you to be on the phone all day. They want you to be upset. Oh, government doesn't work. It sucks. Well, because they don't fucking fund it. In a shining city on the hill, if you call up the Social Security Administration, they should pick up on the first ring. That's what happens in a functioning society. But they have broken it on purpose. And they want you divided. And that's why they have these masked goons. Shame on them. Ripping people, from their loved ones' arms and kidnapping them. Oh, well, this one's a this and that one's a that and that's... Well, fucking put them through due process. It doesn't matter. They keep saying, well, you're protecting a criminal. Prove it. No one has a problem with criminals being deported. But everyone in this shining city on a hill is entitled to due process. Not that maggots understand that. That's what makes America great. The Constitution. That's what all of those people who died on the beaches of Normandy, that's what they died for. Not so a baboon can host a war criminal so he can escape the consequences of his life of crime and turn the Oval Office into Saddam's palace while he's grifting and stealing and I mean, what a grubby little grifter we have in the Oval Office. Shame on everyone who voted for him. Shame on you. You disgust me. You should be embarrassed. And if you're not, shame on you. Shame on you more. You are gross. You're disgusting. I mean, inside, you're gross. Like your standard bearer, like your dear leader, MAGAt hero. And that's why they have this country. They want people to chew on all that red meat, all that division and hate. Let them eat hate is the Republican motto. Because you can't do this to a country that's unified, So you can't do it to a country where we promote the general welfare, where we care about other people, where we care about each other. You can only do this to a country where right-wingers are drinking our tears, drinking liberal tears. This is another thing the Democrats need to listen to me and start talking about. No one who drinks the tears of their fellow Americans is a patriot. And when they say, oh, I'm drinking the tears, oh, drinking your tears, owning the libs, you're not a patriot. And there you go again, proving it. See, I don't want to drink maggot tears. I want them to get health care. I want them to have a shining city on a hill. When they call the Social Security Administration, they pick up on the first ring. Right? Don't we deserve that? That's why I have to always ask these maggots, how much do you hate yourself? How much do you have to hate yourself to vote for a con man who hates you, who effing hates you? We don't hate you. I don't like you because you're racist and dumb and fucking stupid, and then you come into my chat and say things like MAGA. And to me, it's like you might as well have just passed gas at you're eating dinner and you're having a nice conversation, and then somebody lets out a big fart. That's MAGA. MAGA. You're fucking ridiculous. You're really ridiculous, because no one hates you more than your dear leader hates you. He's the one who hates you the most, booby. He wants your money. He sells you cheap Bibles made in wherever, China, no doubt. Which I saw some review of the Trump Bible, and a legitimate review, a guy who reviews Bibles. And he's like, I'm gonna review this on the level. It's a piece of shit, this Bible. It's not even, they say it was supposed to be leather bound. It's not leather bound. It's not even leather bound. It's paper that's been stamped with a leather, groove. Everything about it, the guy said, it screams cheap. And he sells it at $99.99. When the Bible guy who did the review said this must cost about $9.99 at most, $6.99. That's what he speculated. It's a piece of shit. But he knows you're dumb enough to buy it. He knows you pretend to love Jesus. And you will buy anything, I guess. You're suckers. Suckers are born every minute. Trumpanzees are living proof. And what else? The Trump watch, The grift, the non-stop grifting. The watch itself, too, is another thing that I've seen news stories of people who dumb enough to buy that fucking stupid watch. And it's just a piece of trash. One guy bought one of the $500 watches for his stupid wife, and it said rump. The T had fallen off. That's what a piece of shit it is. But could you imagine? This is why I just can't stand the hypocrisy. So they say nothing about J.D. Vance going on vacation once a month. Could you imagine if that was Harris? Kamala Harris. Imagine Kamala Harris took her family to Disneyland and then shut down the park wherever she was. They had to shut the park down, inconveniencing everyone, making everyone else have a shitty time because they had to wait on longer lines and couldn't just go where the fuck they wanted to go and go on the rides, making all the other rides worse. Right? And she said, and when they asked her about it, she said, well, I'm sorry. I had a good time, though. I had a good time. Because that's all that matters, right, maggots? If your dear leader has a good time, how about you? How are you having? You having a good time watching all of the immigrants, I guess, get their asses beat and not have due process? But always remember, first they came for the immigrants. It's that Pastor Niemoller. I can't say that name. Sometimes I have hard times with names. Pastor Niemoller. You know what I'm talking about. Niemoller. Have to practice it. Pastor Niemoller. I'm sorry. Yes, he wasn't. He didn't write that poem. First they came for the trade unionists. He didn't write that because he was some great humanitarian. He wrote it because out of a sense of shame, because he was a coward who didn't stand up. He went along to go along. First they came for the communists, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists. I didn't speak out because I wasn't a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I didn't speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out. Well, that'll be you, maggots. But the irony is this too, though. When they come for the maggots, you know who will be speaking out for them? It will be you and me. It will be the liberals. It will be the normal people, the patriots, the progressives. That's who will speak out for them, as always. It's so true. But, all right, where is this video I wanted to play? Let me see. How's everybody doing? How's it going on the Substack? All right. If you can, not only like and subscribe to the Substack, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That helps. And share and all that stuff, please. Because, this is how we're going to cut through. The maggots are well ahead of us on the messaging game, and they have the lies. That's because they understood that they needed, because they have nothing in reality to boast about. What are you going to boast about, maggots? You're going to boast, because everything that they do boast about is a lie, right? Oh, I had the greatest economy. No, you didn't. You left office with the worst jobs rate since Herbert Hoover. He takes credit for things that Biden did. Oh, I'm the one that got the $10 or whatever insulin. No, that was Biden, bitch. And everything that the Democrats did to try to make life a little easier for the American people, the Republicans are undoing. Who kicks 17 million off their health care? Huh? And then pretends that you love Jesus? That's fucked up. You gotta be. There's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you. Let me see. Here we go. Ooh, look at that. Look at J.D. Vance. Isn't he disgusting? That's another thing I will never forgive MAGAts for voting for this. For this J.D. Vance? You voted for J.D. Vance. What an underwhelming, mediocre thing you voted for. And it takes a special kind of self-loathing, I guess. Because, when I vote, or let's say in general, in life, wait, I'm trying to find this thing, it won't move. When you send somebody to represent you, wouldn't you want to send the best? How Trump says, oh, they're not sending you. They're not sending their best. This is your best? J.D. Vance? Vacation Boy? Little Lord Fauntleroy? I mean, how much do you hate yourself to vote for fucking J.D. Vance? Ugh, he's such a liar too. They're just so tedious. Well, here is J.D. Vance once again, like the rest of the MAGAts, yelling at us.
And I don't know for the life of me what happened in this country where we decided that the compassionate thing was to let somebody fester on the streets instead of
decide that.
Instead of get the treatment that they need. It's very simple to me. And
listen, bitch, this is why I hate these Republicans, besides everything else. When for the life of me, there he is pretending to have feelings, and for the life of him, for the life of me, how did we get to this point where we thought the compassion, like you ever had a compassionate thought in your head, bubby? Yeah, sure, bitch. For the life of me, how we let people fester on the streets? Do you people hear yourselves, maggots? No, that was you. That's Reagan. That emptied all the mental hospitals. That's Reagan. That's Republicans. Cutting lifelines. For the life of me. And there goes Republicans. Yet again, the party of personal responsibility never takes responsibility for the hate and the suffering, the cruelty that they inflict on this country. We could end homelessness tomorrow. We got a lot of billionaires in this country that don't want to pay taxes thanks to the rigged tax code that Republicans just made worse. We got a lot of money here. Enough for everybody's greed, but not for everyone's need. So, for the life of me, and I guess that's how they distance themselves from the consequences of their policies. We all have to live in the world that Republican policies create. And they don't even have the decency to take responsibility for the fucking, for the shit they cause. For the cruelty. Liberals don't want homeless people on the streets. We want funding. Let's get funding. Let's put everybody in a house. That's what they do in other countries. You know, why don't you look around the world and see what's working? This is why I hate MAGAts too, besides everything else. Because look around the world. There are people, there are civilizations that are tackling homelessness. And we could follow suit. You could take good ideas. That's how the Roman Empire. I know these maggots. They're all like Western civilization. Well, why don't you follow some of the not policies, but the traits of a civilization that lasted 1,000 years, and take some of the good ideas from other cultures and adopt them. But maggots don't do that. They're like, USA, USA. If you really wanted to end homelessness, you would look around and say, hey, wow, look. Let me see. I don't have it in front of me. I think it's in one of the Scandinavian countries, of course. You know, one of the happiest places on earth. In these countries, you have to really work to be homeless. Let's see. But they put people in homes, and they give them treatment if they need it, drug addiction treatment, and if they have mental illness, they get to have treatment. And I know, you know, Republicans, what do they get? What do our mentally ill Americans get? Assault weapons, right? If they want one. You can get an assault weapon quicker than you can get mental health care in this country. You got money? It's cheaper to buy an assault weapon than it is to get ongoing mental health treatment. But that's Republicans that did that to us. So take some responsibility for yourselves, maggots. You can't go, look at all this shit here that you caused. Well, you can, I guess, because they have no integrity. They have no decency. They have no honor. That's the other thing. They have no interest either in solving the problems. They just want to use them as so they can point and say, look over here, and as they pick your pockets and turn your country into the shitty, not a shining city on a hill, a shitty city on a hill. Right? Not a shining city on a hill, a shitty city on a hill. Well, while I look this up, we can listen to this dirtbag here.
I don't know why we accept it as parents and as grandparents and as people who just want to walk down the street in comfort, why we accepted that it was reasonable to have crazy people yelling at our kids. You should not have to cross the street in downtown Atlanta to avoid a crazy person yelling at your family. Those are your streets, paid for with your tax dollars, and you ought to be able to use them like any other citizen of this country. Fuck yourself.
You know, those are your streets. So we're at war with the mentally ill now. The crazy people yelling at us. So we're supposed to be at war with those are your streets, my street. Why don't you just kidnap them? Just kidnap them and take them away to El Salvador, right? I say that facetiously, but that's pretty much their only solution to everything. Give them an assault weapon. Kidnap them and drag them off to some El Salvadorian gulag. Or alligator Alcatraz. Auschwitz, more like it. Those are your streets. I love the outrage, right? The faux rage about, I don't know when it became compassionate. And then he switches into faux rage about it. And anger. How you should be able to walk down the street. Like the mentally ill person wants to be on the street screaming at people. Right? Exactly, Teresa on the chat. He's the only crazy person yelling at our kids. If only we could cross the street and get away from him. Exactly. And Redfoot on the chat. Trump took away funding for LGBT suicide hotlines. How sick is that? They take funding away in general for suicide hotlines. Period. Not just for LGBT. I mean, these are fucking monsters who hate their fellow humans. They want us at each other's throats. There's something very sick about them. You cannot look at Stephen Miller and Pete Hegseth and J.D. Vance and the rest of these maggots and Traitor Trump and think these are sane, well, and emotionally stable adults. They're very sick people. And they have power. That's the problem. I've said it for years. You know, we don't have the corner market on sickness or people like this. But you don't give them power. But in this country, they have so rigged this system because it's not Republicans. I mean, it's conservatives. By any other name, a conservative sucks. By any name you call them. Back in the 1860s, they were called the Democrats. Now they're the Republicans. But you really want to fix homelessness? Look around, just like with healthcare. If you really cared about healthcare or about your fellow Americans, you wouldn't continue to inflict the most expensive system on them that consistently ranks dead last in all positive measures, that cost twice as much as the next most expensive system, leaves millions out, bankrupts millions, needlessly kills thousands, and getting worse because of the fucking Republican big ugly bill. You wouldn't do that, would you? Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? Is that the end of the Progressive Voices part of the show? Oh my God, yet again, it goes by so fast. I don't know about you, but that's how it feels to me. It goes by so fast. Thank you for hanging out. Well, it's not over yet. It's not over yet. Thank you for hanging out. Because that's, for those on Substack who are new, this is just the end of the Progressive Voices part of the show, but we got more show. We will win. Thank you, Charlie from APS Radio News, for all you do to keep the show going and growing. Check out the Tara Show every Tuesday and Thursday with myself and Tara Dublin, 2 p.m. on the Political Voices Network. Become a patron. Patreon.com/Tara Devlin. All right. How's everybody doing? Yes. Okay, so is that the end of the clip of JD? I thought, oh no. I mean, what a tedious scold he is. I'm so sick of him. I'm so sick of them yelling at us, scolding us. Scold yourselves, maggots. You made this. You did this. You made homelessness like this. You put mentally ill people on the streets. You know, if you love your Western civilization so much, you know, they do. They think, because it's part of their racist, you know, mental illness, that they think that, you know, their greatest achievement is being born white. So they're like, the West, and they talk, you know, it's talking about the Roman Empire. And so if you really think the Roman Empire is great, I love the Roman Empire, as you know. I love studying Roman history. It's one of my hobbies, and I love it. It's fascinating to me. But what breaks my heart is that if you really, you know, how did the Roman Empire last 1,000 years? Partly, they were open to new ideas in a lot of ways. Whatever culture they would encounter, and although they absorbed those cultures into their own, they took their ideas. If if another culture had an idea that was working, they took it and adopted it for themselves and made it their own. So why would America be so stupid, for example, with healthcare, when you look around the world and you say, gee, every other country has healthcare as a right of citizenship, and no one has to go on GoFundMe to beg for medical care, and nobody has to go bankrupt and needlessly die. This is the only country that allows, now it used to be 35,000, and thanks to the big ugly bill, it's up to over 55,000 needless deaths every year, and it's going to get worse. It will get worse, trust me, because for the first time, we are now going backwards thanks to the Republican death cult that have kicked 17 million off their health insurance and counting. So, and facilities are closing, and the full effect has not been completely felt yet, but it started. So why would you make that your system? And the Republicans call that the system that bankrupts millions, kills thousands, leaves millions out, and ranks dead last in all positive measures. The Republicans call that the greatest healthcare system on earth. They do. They say, we got the best healthcare in the world. No, we got the best anything in the world if you can afford it. Yeah, if you're rich, you can get healthcare. But we don't have the best healthcare in the world, as we know. And if the Republicans gave a shit, and they would look around the world and say, look, hey, they do it over here. It's cheaper. It doesn't needlessly kill people. Everyone in, nobody out. And it has better outcomes. Why wouldn't they say that's the best? Let's do it. Because they want money. That's all. It's all about the few to them, because they don't give a shit. Traitor Trump has health care. We pay for it. Lauren, banned from the bowling alley Bobert, has health care. We pay for it. She'll have it for the rest of her rotten, useless life. J.D. Vance, the same thing. They got theirs, you see, while I'm over here. I don't look at life just as I got mine, sucks to be you. To me, it seems very obvious. If anybody is left behind, that could be any of us. We're in this together. If someone is homeless on the street, then we should be ashamed of that. In the richest country on earth, we can do better than that. I suppose when maggots are screaming about it, that's the best they can do. You see, because they have no policy to back it up. They have no ideas. They have no interest in doing anything about it, They're not trying to fix homelessness or change it. They just want to scream about it and yell and say, that's your street. So what are you supposed to do? Go beat the shit out of the homeless person? Because that's what it seems like he's saying. It's certainly a mixed message. When did it become compassionate to let people fester on the street and then go right to, that's your street, you shouldn't be yelled at? Well, what are you going to do? It's not like the guy or the person, whoever it is, it's not like you think that they want to be on the street screaming at people. These are suffering. They're suffering. So fucking help them, JD. Don't go up on your podium in your fucking ivory tower and bang your podium about how angry you are about it. Oh, but you're such a good Christian too, right? Isn't that how Jesus rolled? He just screamed, we don't want anybody screaming at us. Except you, right? You're the one who gets to scream at everybody. While you cut their lifelines, cut their social safety net, cut their trust in each other, in the community, in the country. Don't expect anything from the country, right? Except to be fucking kicked in the balls when you're mentally ill and having a mental episode on the street. There goes J.D. Vance, the vice president of the United States. He's got the power to go on a fucking vacation every month. He doesn't have the power to help you. Well, if someone's screaming at J.D. Vance on the street, don't you think he could take that as an opportunity to go over and say, what's wrong with you? What is your name? Can I help you? I'm the vice president. How did you end up on the street? Let's get you inside somewhere. Let's get you the help you need because I'm the fucking vice president. Would he ever think like that? Let's get you some resources and services. Clearly, something happened in your life, and who knows what it is, whether it's of your own fault or not. But we don't leave anybody behind here in the United States. That's how great we are. That's what a great shining city on a hill we are. Instead, he's got to fucking just turn his fake Christian head and rush to that podium. Bang, bang, bang. And, when did it become compassionate to let people fester on the streets? But that's your street. You should be able to walk without somebody screaming at you. Thank you for proving again how absolutely useless you are. Useless. They can't even can maintain a consistent train of thought over it. What is it? Is it compassionate? You feeling compassion? Or are you feeling outrage at the mentally ill person? Right? Sick. These people are sick. So you want happiness, and that we should start talking about happiness in this country. God, make this time end. Get through this time. When will I keep thinking about that great getting up morning? You know that great getting up morning when those cankles catch up to him, and this too shall pass. And we better not forget who brought us here. We got a lot of work to do fixing what they broke over a long ass time. Yeah. So yeah, you want to fix homelessness. In Finland and Norway, they have something called the Housing First policy. Is the foundation for combating homelessness. This means that people are given stable, permanent housing before requiring them to tackle issues like addiction and mental illness. So they get them stable and with a roof over their head, and then they are able to access, or they have access, I guess, stable access to treatment. Housing is treated as a human right, not as a reward for progress on other fronts. The focus is on quickly getting people off the street or into temporary shelters, and from there into long-term unconditional housing, also paired with individualized social services as needed. In Denmark, they employ something called the staircase transition, which is a gradual move to a more independent housing situation, or something called the tiered model, where they have set explicit and stated policy goals that no citizen should have to live on the street. Could you imagine? Oh, God. Yeah, they have led to a significant reduction in homelessness across all of the Nordic countries. Jesus Christ. And, of course, they're the happiest places on earth. They have strong social welfare systems and comprehensive safety nets. They have vacation, believe it or not. They're not dumb enough to think that, billionaires, that billionaires made a middle class because one day they felt like trickling it. It came through government policy. They understand that standard of living is a choice. Like I said, enough for, well, not I said, Gandhi said, enough for everyone's need, but not for everyone's greed. And in the Nordic countries, that are the happiest places on earth, they have high levels of social trust and political stability. But there you go. You see what I mean? That's how they destroyed this country. Thanks to Rush Limbaugh. Thanks to, it really is it was both parties, the Telecommunications Act of 96. It's greed. Ultimately, greed is what turned this country from the most upwardly mobile to the least upwardly mobile, from the slightest income gap to the widest income gap. And while the American people slipped lower and lower on the ladder, thanks to the likes of Rush Limbaugh and the deregulated media, the consolidated media that gave us these silos of information like Fox News, while we slid lower and lower on the ladder, Fox News just churned out the hate, churned out the division, the racism, scum. That's who they are. And speaking of, I'm sure you saw in Florida, they painted over. I mean, there's many things going on. I wasn't sure what to talk about tonight. This never stops. Like the Ghislaine Maxwell thing, I put that in the list. Like, somebody sent me, a friend of mine sent me Ghislaine Maxwell's recording. Like, I give a shit. Ghislaine Maxwell is a sex offender. She's not just the sex trafficker of underage girls. She participated. She's a rapist. She's already been found guilty of perjury. So, surprise, surprise, Ghislaine Maxwell had a lot of nice things to say about Traitor Trump. Right? Can you believe it? Oh, wow. What a surprise. She said, I really like him. Who cares? And why is the assistant AG going to visit? Why did he visit with a registered sex offender when everyone's demanding the release of the Epstein files? Release them. Just release it. You don't need Ghislaine Maxwell to release the Epstein files. Clearly, there's a cover-up going on. And if you watched the Tara show the other day on Thursday on the Political Voices Network with myself and Tara Dublin, we had Ron Wyden on the show, and he's talking about following the money. Over 4,000 wire transfers from Epstein to Russia, coincidentally, during the time that Traitor Trump had a Miss Teen pageant in Russia. And banks didn't red flag. Which was their duty to do so. Excuse me, I just choked on myself. And there's, the corruption. That's what I'm so sick of. That the corruption of the rich just get to fucking do whatever the fuck they want. But it goes hand in hand with the fact that we are trash to them. We are trash. So I thought, well, let's talk about Ghislaine Maxwell. No, I hate her. There's nothing worse than a female rapist, right? Nothing worse than a female pedophile. What a disgusting person. Another one who had everything handed to her. And that's, there you go. You know, just like Traitor Trump. We are trash. We are trash to them. So then I thought, well, what else can we talk about? Oh, well, the fact is that Republicans destroy everything they touch. And the zeitgeist of the day is the cruelty is the point, right? I don't know who coined that phrase originally. It was I think it was an article that was written in the New York Times that cruelty is the point. But more than that, and worse than that, the ugliness is the point. That's the time we live in. That Republicans make everything ugly. They never bring light or beauty. They never turn anything into beauty, do they? Right? Oh, and then I thought about, you know, should we talk about John Bolton? I put that in the list too. That the MAGAts are weaponizing government. There you go again, MAGAts. See? Oh, they're saying, oh, well, this is tit for tat because you did it to Trump. Well, because he is a criminal. But, all right, whatever. More will be revealed. We'll figure out. We'll see what happens with John Bolton. I mean, clearly, this is what MAGAts are doing. That's why they get into government. It's like J.D. Vance in his vacations. They're not in government for altruism. They're there to entrench their power so they can steal. It's not enough money. They will never have enough. That's why they need to be legally and peacefully smashed into history's trash bin. So, here, let's play before we don't have a lot of time. What time is it? Oh, boy. We have like 20 minutes. Let's play this local news story. So, because Republicans are monsters, in Florida, they painted over the memorial to the victims of the Pulse Nightclub murder, assault, you know, another gun massacre here in this fucking armed madhouse.
A symbol of love and support outside the Pulse
Wow. I don't understand. That's echoing.
Nightclub vanished overnight.
Interesting. I shouldn't play that because that sounds kind of strange. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see. News story. Painted Pulse.
Right now, there's a...
Here we go. Let's play this one. I'll play it off the screen. Come on, YouTube. Oh. I hope I'm not buffering. Son of a bitch. Skip. I didn't sign in. That's why it's doing that.
Right now, there's a crowd of people growing near the Pulse Nightclub site in Orlando, upset about this, the rainbow crosswalk being painted over.
But the governor is doubling down on the state's decision to remove it. Let's get out to Fox 35's Hannah McKenzie. She is joining us live outside the Pulse Memorial tonight. So, Hannah, at one point, people actually colored that sidewalk back in.
Yeah, Luann, some fast-working folks brought out the chalk and worked to restore that rainbow. We did have a downpour here in Orlando, though, and as you can see, that chalk has since washed away. But now a large group of folks have gathered here on the side of Orange Avenue, and they have signs, they have banners, they have flags. They are hoping their presence long-lasting impact more than any restored temporarily with crosswalk outside the Pulse Nightclub in the dead of night. Epstein hoping her 49 for those upset over.
Maybe they could feel some support too.
Calling the move Mayor Buddy Dyer memorial to what was at the time our nation's largest data or discussion is a several weeks ago the Trump governors telling them to keep intersections free of political messages, artwork, and any markings not directly tied to pedestrian or driver safety.
Nothing
FDOT also releasing
that.
This memo stating their 2025 design manual explicitly prohibits the application of pavement or surface art on travel lanes, paved shoulders, intersections, crosswalks, or sidewalks. State Senator Carlos Guillermo Smith says he saw this coming.
They're actively fighting with the city of Delray Beach, with Key West, with Sarasota. This is the crosswalk that they wanted to make an example out of. The crosswalk that was created to remember 49 people who were murdered here.
Governor Ron Desantis replying to a video posted by Guillermo Smith, writing, "We will not allow our state roads to be commandeered for political purposes."
It's really hard for me to say I felt any other way but numb.
Darylise Torres survived the Pulse massacre and lost friends inside. She says if the city built a permanent memorial, painting over this crosswalk wouldn't be an issue.
While I do not condone it, I think it's horrible and despicable that the state is actually doing that. The fact that they're using polls is more to pursue a different agenda than what it actually should mean had we done things right in the first place.
I did reach out to FDOT. I did not hear back, but according to their memo, FDOT does have the authority to comply with these standards, and they also have the authority to withhold state funding for any agency found in violation of these standards. Reporting live in Orlando, Hannah McKenzie, Fox 35 News.
Hannah, thank you.
So, I'm sorry about the buffer. I don't know what to do about it. It's fine over for me. Everything is fine, but then it buffers. But this is symbolic annihilation. And of course, we're in a fascist state. And for Ron DeSantis to say that this is political, it's not. What is political about honoring or the memory of those who were murdered? There's nothing political about that. Because they were gay, it's political. It makes absolutely no sense, but that's fascism. If this were a memorial to a bunch of maggots, do you think that they would erase it's symbolic annihilation, because it's the step that happens before actual annihilation. There's nothing political. It's only political because maggots are filled with hate. And they caused it's their religious ideology, not theirs. It was just another. I know that a Muslim was the one who perpetrated a Muslim anti-gay fundamentalist who was probably struggling with his own sexuality, inflicting his manias on those who had the courage to live their authentic lives. Just another form of magatry. That's for sure. Magatism. And the fact that they do it, just like the masked goons running around, that have to cover their faces because they're cowards. They are fundamentally coward. Fascism is a cowardly ideology. But they painted over the crosswalk in the middle of the night. Like the demons that they are. They do their best work in the dark. If you have to do things, you have to skulk around in the middle of the night and paint over things that are beautiful, something that doesn't recognize a beautiful event, but it remembers the people who were killed, and it points out how hate kills. That's what it does. And they want no reminders of that, because they want another Pulse Nightclub. They want gay people to be victimized and trans people to be targeted. That's what they're doing. You could tell everything about a civilization by their monuments. The fact that these maggots are rebuilding and putting up, monuments to slavery, that they're rewriting the history of this country, that this dullard, this incurious baboon is going to have to, says that he's going to be the arbiter of everything that in our national museum, that he's going to have to approve of the stories we tell ourselves about who we are, is a goddamn outrage. But symbolic annihilation, because this next step is actual annihilation, and that's what they want. They don't want a society that values gay and trans and anyone who's not a straight white male, that values those lives enough to put up a memorial to people who were senselessly murdered by hate. So they want that, to just go right down the memory hole, because they want more death. They want more division. They want people to hate themselves. They want a young gay or trans person to grow up and hate themselves and commit another murder, get an assault weapon, vote Republican and get some, hate yourself, cause more death, more needless death. This is a very sick time we're living in. And I just can't wait till we get to the other side. It always seems inevitable, like the end of the Third Reich. When you're reading about history, it seems inevitable. But remember, when they were in it, it wasn't very inevitable. They seemed like it would never end. 12 years is a long-ass time. And thank you, Josie, for your super chat. Don't despair. There are more of us than them. There really are. Except they're loud. That's the thing. They are louder. They have more money behind them. They are whiny. They scream louder, as we know. It's time for us to start screaming louder, unapologetically. This is the problem. We're always so nice to them. It's, and the way I look at it is that it's, the old saying, cruel to be kind. That's how we got to look at these maggots. You got to pull their covers. You got to tell them the truth. You have to not give them any wiggle room to inflict their manias on this society. We're in a very sick time. Just the fact that we watched this news story, and of course, I guess the way the news is now, and this is a Fox affiliate we watch, but for Ron DeSantis saying that, well, we're not going to be hijacked for some political bullshit. How is memorializing the murder of 49 people, how is that political? Unless you hate gay people. Unless your political party is an arbiter, is a font of hate. Right? Seriously, so who would say that's political? Putting up a memorial to people who were murdered in a horrific event, a massacre. They were murdered for who they are. A hate crime. That's the very definition of a hate crime. So they were murdered because of their difference, their distinction without a difference, so to speak. Or difference without a distinction. And that's, they were murdered, and MAGAts want to politicize gay people, so I guess the murder of gay people to them is political. It's a political act to honor to honor them, right? I mean, so they give away the game, and of course the news, story that we just watched. That's why it's so irritating. They don't point it out. Well, what are you talking about? Political? What's political about honoring or remembering victims of a massacre? See, they would not do this if it were any other group. They wouldn't feel as emboldened, of course, to erase the memory or the memorial for any other group, let's say, that were the victim of a crime. Oh, especially if it was a white person, forget about it. This is what we're dealing with now. We're in a fascist coup, and fascism is very, they're just very underwhelming people that can't stand living in a diverse society. So we're all supposed to honor them. The only thing that you're allowed to do is honor white people. Honor underwhelming white people, like Pete Hegson. Oh, God help us. Let me see, what time is it? And it looks like the buffering has stopped just in time as the music starts. Guys, we got a lot of work to do. But we will win. Thank you for hanging out. We're here every Friday night. My name is Tara Devlin. Check out the Tara Show every Tuesday and Thursday on the Political Voices Network with myself and Tara Dublin. And this show every Friday night, 8:30 p.m. Check out, what else? Yes, we will win. We're on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. We stick together, we win. Thank you, Charlie from APS Radio News. I'll see you soon. All right, what else? And become a patron, patreon.com/Tara Devlin. And thank you if you're on the Substack. Thank you so much for hanging out. We're here every Friday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And yeah, like and subscribe. I don't know. I'm tired of telling people what to do. Do it if you want. Like, subscribe if you want. If you must. I don't know. I'm of the belief that if we don't get the message back, then we're doomed. That's how the MAGAts got us, guys. They got us because they were able to. They were, because they have nothing in reality to boast about, so they were able to. They got, like, their think tanks funded their propaganda arms, and they wanted it so wherever you went, online or offline, you would encounter their message. And they were very crafty about that. So they funded smaller, independent YouTube, voices, or like Tommy Lauren and Diamond and Silk, like all these horrible people that I don't understand why anybody would want to listen to them, because they offer nothing. I mean, Tommy Lauren herself, my God, she right before she became like this breakout YouTuber, she was posting on Twitter, "God, I hate summer school," and things like that, for real. So, but they don't care. I don't know. As long as you simply spew the maggot line. It was called teabaggers back then. I'm old enough to remember the teabaggers. Oh, lordy, lordy. All right. Who are we talking about? Redford says, it's too bad he can't come on here and complain about the First Amendment. Oh, Biff. Thank you. Yes, Biff on the... we had some maggots in the chat tonight. That's why I'm glad Jim and Redfoot are on the case. I don't mind maggots hanging out. I don't. I just... when they act like maggots, then they get banned. Because, if they disagree, that's fine. You could disagree. That's why I always say, tell me. If you think I'm wrong, put it in the chat. We'll talk about it. But they don't have anything intelligent to say. They're just, like, they'll say something insulting. Not that, like, I don't care. Or they say, we didn't ban the guy that was like, MAGA, last time, right? Was that Biff? Took him 2 weeks to get banned? I mean, that's just boring. It's, when they come on here and they're like, MAGA, basically laying the internet equivalent of a fart in your chat room. So, yeah, they don't have a lot of self-awareness. That's why it's funny watching them complain about Gavin Newsom. They're like, you're the governor of the 4th largest economy on earth. Act like it. That says everything about who they are. Have you met yourselves, maggots? I guess not. It takes, they need therapy. They need somebody. They need to get into those group therapy, or get a real hard therapist that, like, gets at the, like, batonka bat, and they start hitting the fucking, like, I hate you, mommy, Or it's probably daddy, because daddy called them, gay slurs and stuff. And they hate themselves. I wish they would stop hating themselves and get the help they need, right? Yes. I hate you, mommy. Bam, bam. Why? There was that video, actually, that Sam Cedar used to play. There was a video of some right-winger hitting a batonka bat going, why, mommy, did you do this to me? All right. Yeah, they never get that the government is held by the Constitution, not the people. You're right, Redfoot. Well, that's it. That's what I always ask when they say, when they call themselves patriots, I wonder, what are you talking about? Because you hate everybody in the country and you don't like the Constitution. So what is it that when you're chanting USA and waving those made in China oversized flags, what you're talking about? I know they like the branding. They like the stars and the eagles, and they like being tough and saying things like, these colors don't run, even though they run all the time, with Traitor Trump in office especially. Nobody runs quicker than, I mean, run metaphorically. He can barely lumber anymore. But he never ran anyway, even when he could. He ran from the consequences of his actions, certainly. But what do you love? You don't love the Purple Mountain's majesty. Since they want to get at that coal, they want to blow the tops off and get at the coal, right? They don't love the fruited plain. They want to frack those fruited plains. They don't love the people in the country. I mean, you can't call yourself a patriot when you hate everybody in the country. Just about. So what do you love? You don't love the nation of laws. You don't love the nation of immigrants. You don't love the diversity. You don't love the education, the government that the founders created. That's why, Democrats, would you please listen to me? That's what the Democrats have to say. Right? When the filthy fascist Republicans, all those years when they were saying small government, drown government, make it small, drown it in a bathtub. How sick is that? Shrink it so I can drown it in a bathtub. Like what, a kitten? Right? What kind of fucking vision is that? Who thinks of shit like that? That's their sick, fucked up minds. Drown it in a bathtub. Like what? A kitten? A puppy? Is that what you do with things you don't like? You drown them in a bathtub? An infant, perhaps? You prick. You filthy fascist pricks. But the Democrats should have said, well, when they say they hate government's the problem. What they're saying is they hate democracy. They hate the system that the founders fought a revolution to create. So, lay it out, Dems. Will they ever listen to me? All right. I guess that's a question for another day. Oh, Lordy. All right, my friends. Thank you for hanging out. I love you. Look at my little Boudica cat. Should I wake her up for the finale, for the final goodbye, for the evening? Boudica. Get up, Booty. Did you see how she just looked up and then went right back to sleep? Booty. Booty. Get up. Get up, Booty. Wake up, little Booty. Wake up. All right. Guys, I gotta go. I gotta lay down. I gotta put my feet up and pretend I live in a world without Republicans. So, in other words, dream. Dream the impossible dream. I need to dream. I need to dream. Whatever happened to dreams? But let's go on another. Oh, look. I got another cat here. What's going on? Get up here. Get up here. Ow. I gotta cut his nails. It's Francis. Hello, everybody. It's Francis. All right. Guys, love you. Thank you for hanging out. Become a patron at patreon.com/TaraDevlin. We will win and everything else. Remember to subscribe and like and check out the Tara Show, all that stuff. Tuesday and Thursday on the Political Voices Network. Follow my Substack, please. Where's the producer? He must be in the bedroom. I don't see him. And, yeah, he's in the bedroom. All right, guys. What else? I don't know. Parting is such sweet sorrow. But I gotta do it. I gotta get unconscious. I love you. Thank you for hanging out. Please follow, like, and subscribe. Do all that. Do all that stuff. I hate saying these things, but I have to be more proactive in my life. Because, I don't know. We got a lot of work to do. All right, kids. I love you. And thank you. Thank you for hanging out. And please stay safe. And I will see you Oh yeah. So this Tuesday, Tara Show, we'll have Ellie Leonard, who is a great writer, on her Substack. Check her out. She has a great timeline of all the Epstein stuff. I'm sure that's what we'll be talking about. And then on Thursday, Hal Sparks is coming back on the Tara Show. So that's going to be amazing. And I can't wait. And maybe one day he'll come on this show. We'll see. All right. He's very busy. He's out there he's on the front lines, trying to make the world a better place. All right, my friends. I love you. And I will see you hopefully Tuesday. Come hang out, because Jim is the moderator on the Tara Show as well. So come and hang out. You'll be among friends. And I know you guys do, because I see you there. So I will see you. Stay safe. See you very soon.